Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on The Winter's Tale and we get to hear from Leontes again today in Act 1, Scene 2. Now Leontes, if you remember, is the king of Sicilia, and his very good friend, the king of Bohemia, who is named Polixenes, has been visiting Sicilia for like 9 months and thought it was time to go home, but Leontes wanted him to stay a little bit longer, so he was trying. Polixenes wasn't caving. Then they got Hermione in on it, Hermione being Leontes' pregnant wife. The two of them also have a son named Emilius already. And Hermione was able to convince Polixenes to stay, which has started the gears of jealousy running in Leontes' brain. Yesterday he was like, look at them over there, like holding hands and all that. He's like, I know that there's something going on. So then he calls to his son Emilius and is like, you know, you're my kid, right? You're my kid. And the kid's like, yeah. He's like, oh, good. But then he starts to devolve into a little bit of jealousy again. He's like, no, come here. They're like, you're my kid, right? And the kid's like, yeah. And Leontes says, thou want'st a rough pash, and the shoots that I have to be full, like me. Yet they say we are, almost as like eggs. Women say so, that will say anything. But were they false, as o'er-dyed blacks, as wind, as waters, false as dice are to be wished by one that fixes no bourne twixt his and mine. Yet were it true to say this boy were like me. Come, Sir Page, look on me with your welkin eye. Sweet villain, most dearest, my collop, can thy dam, may it be affection? Thy intention stabs the center. Thou dost make possible things not so held, communicatest with dreams. How can this be? With what's unreal, thou coactive art, and fellowest nothing, then 'tis very credent thou mayest co-join with something, and thou dost. And that beyond commission. And I find it. And that to the infection of my brains and hardening of my brows. So Leontes, he's trying to distract himself by talking to his kid, but then he's like, you know, they say that my kid, my existing kid, who is, you know, more than 9 months old, he's like, they say that my existing child looks like me, but of course, women have a tendency to lie. So does he really look like me? So he calls him over to take a look at him, and he's like, you know, I love my kid, and because I love my kid, maybe I'm imagining things, and because I love my wife, maybe I'm imagining things that aren't real, but it makes total sense that this is a thing that could happen, that, you know, I could be imagining things, or, you know, but maybe they're true. So he's spiraling really fast into, he thinks that there's something going on with Hermione and Polixenes, and it's so bad that he's questioning whether or not Emilius is his son, which in order for Emilius to not be his son, then Hermione would have had to be messing around with Polixenes like a long time ago. So and he ends it with the, you know, the infection of my brain and the hardening of my brows, and like his face gets all like knotted up to the point where Hermione and Polixenes notice, like they've just been having a friendly conversation. They thought that this whole day was just friendly conversation. Leontes being a little, and of course Leontes has an answer, and of course it's not an honest one, but we get to hear it tomorrow. I'll see you then for that. Mwah.